Chapter 1 told you how to think before a conflict begins. Chapter 2 tells you something most strategists prefer not to hear. It tells you what conflict actually costs. Sun Tzu opens his second chapter not with tactics or formations, but with numbers, with treasury, with the weight of maintaining an army in the field. In the operations of war, he writes, where there are 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, the expenditure at home and abroad, including entertainment of guests, small items such as glue and paint, and sums spent on chariots and armor, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. He is doing accounting. On the first page of his second chapter, this is not an accident. When you engage in actual fighting, he says, if victory is long in coming, then men's weapons will grow dull, and their ardor will be dampened. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. This is the central argument of Chapter 2. Prolonged conflict destroys the victor as surely as the defeated. The goal is not simply to win, it is to win quickly, decisively, and at the lowest possible cost. There is no instance, he says, of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. 25 centuries. The lesson has still not been learned by everyone who needed to learn it. Sun Tzu now makes a move that surprises most first-time readers. He talks about foraging. It is in the interest of the skilled general to forage on the enemy, he writes. 1 cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own. The point is not about stealing food. The point is about the mathematics of supply. Every resource you take from your opponent is a resource they no longer have, and a resource you no longer need to transport from your own base. The strategic value of captured supply is therefore double. It weakens them and strengthens you simultaneously. This principle extends far beyond the battlefield. In any contest of resources, any competition where endurance matters, the ability to draw strength from the opposing position rather than depleting your own is a decisive advantage. He turns next to something unexpected for a military text: the treatment of captured soldiers. Treat the captives well and care for them, he says. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. Sun Tzu understood that people are resources, that an enemy soldier who becomes your ally is worth more than an enemy soldier who is simply neutralized. The general who treats defeated opponents with contempt destroys potential assets. The general who treats them with intelligence converts them. This is not mercy as a virtue, though it may be that too. It is mercy as strategy. The recognition that how you treat people who have lost determines who will choose to fight you and who will choose to join you. In war, he says, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. This is the chapter's conclusion and its clearest instruction. The general who knows how to handle a large force is the general who understands cost, who knows that every day in the field is a day of depletion, who plans not just for the engagement, but for what comes after, the state of his forces, the state of his treasury, the state of his people when the conflict ends. Victory that exhausts the victor is not victory. It is merely a slower form of defeat. The general skilled in war, Sun Tzu writes, does not raise a second levy. He does not load his supply wagons more than twice. He strikes once, completely, and does not return. It is worth sitting with the implications of this chapter beyond the military context. Sun Tzu is describing a principle that applies to any sustained effort, any project, any relationship, any pursuit that requires resources over time. What is this costing? Is the cost sustainable? Am I depleting something that cannot be replenished? These are not questions most people ask before they commit. They ask them later, when the campaign has gone on too long, when the treasury is empty, when the ardor has been dampened and the weapons have grown dull. Sun Tzu asks them first, before the first move, while there is still time to choose differently. Chapter 2 is not a chapter about war. It is a chapter about honesty. The honesty to count the cost before you begin. The honesty to recognize when prolongation is simply postponed defeat. The honesty to ask, not can I win this, but what will winning this leave me with? Sun Tzu had no patience for commanders who confused beginning a campaign with completing one. Neither should you.